It's time to explore the unexplained, to delve into the mysteries of our world and the realms beyond, to seek out the answers to phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Welcome to Paranormal Underground Radio in the Dark with Karen Frazier and Chucky G, where that journey begins.
Good evening, everyone. This is Paranormal Underground Radio in the Dark with your host, Karen Frazier and Ben Robeson. Sit in for me, Chucky G, because I'm over here at First Ward Schoolhouse in Wisconsin Rapids. How is everyone this evening?
Hey, good.
Awesome.
Except I hate to say it, but I do believe it's Robison.
Oh, did I say it wrong? I'm sorry.
That's all good.
It's all good.
I'm sorry.
Chucky's got his mind in other places.
That's
Thank
right.
you. I do have my mind in other places.
Yeah, so we'll have Ben introduce himself and stuff in a bit, but what I want from you right now, Chucky G, is I want to hear about what you're doing tonight and what's been happening already.
Okay, so we're at the First Ward Schoolhouse in Wisconsin Rapids. Justin Libbigs and Judy Carl are owners of the place. It's from the 1800s. It's a 17,000 square foot last standing old schoolhouse in Wisconsin. Yeah, we've been here a few times. In fact, when we came back now, we were looking in the book that you sign in, and actually had us from 2 years ago, and it had Al's name in there too, which was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then they have our picture and our bell that I donated here on the desk. So, but we've been here. We tried some stuff in this one bathroom you're supposed to lock yourself in, and things will happen. Keno went in, and there was we got a bunch of K2 hits going in there because we pretty much baselined the place so we know what's going on. Then the battery died within like 2 minutes, and it's a freshly charged battery. So we put another battery in, went upstairs, and we were doing some audio. And the speaker started acting up and popping out and stuff, so we figured, well, maybe it's just a speaker. We come downstairs, test the speaker. It works beautiful. So we're going to go back up again, bring some trigger objects with this time and a meter, and see if we can get some audio and see what's going on up there. So, but yeah, it's a pretty big place. It's 4 floors. It's huge.
You're going to have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then plus, we're going to spend the night here. We're going to sleep overnight. What's interesting, a couple of things they have really quick is they have 2 beds from the Lemp Mansion here. Okay, you can sleep in those. Yeah, you can sleep in those if you feel brave enough. And they also just received a dresser from H.H. Holmes. Do you know who H.H. Holmes is?
Oh, yeah, I know who he is. He's America's very first serial killer.
You got that right. Well, there's a dresser. There's a dresser upstairs. It's from his killing mansion, I guess you call it. What's interesting, when they were showing us this dresser, the bottom of the dresser, which looks like a normal piece of the dresser, it's a hidden compartment. You pop it out, it slides open. It's a giant drawer where he used to keep all his weapons.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy was a twisted dude. I thought everything burned down because that whole place got quote unquote, mysteriously burned down.
Yeah, well, see, this piece was a police officer had this piece because some of the stuff got out of there before it went down, and then he had it for a long time, and then he finally sold it off to the school because they looked like they have a lot of eclectic stuff around here. Like there's a sarcophagus upstairs, a lot of Egyptian stuff. There's like a little mixture of everything in here, so it's not all just 1800s school style, So yeah, so it's up on the second floor. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some testing with that also as a giant trigger object. So it ought to be pretty interesting. It's really creepy.
That's cool.
You're going to have so much fun. So are you sleeping in one of the Lemp Mansion beds then, Chuck?
I'm not, because there's a giant, huge monster king bed, and I already took dibs on that.
Okay. So Here's my question. This is a very important question about haunted places, as you know. Sure. Does it have a gift shop?
It does not have a gift shop. Oh. There's there was a little corner where they got some. Well, they got some. There's a little corner where they do have some stuff you can buy, like a wristband or something to help.
Okay, well that counts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to help raise money for the school to keep going because they got so much to build on here. In fact, they just opened up one of the rooms when last time I was not here, and it's huge. So yeah, they have a lot to go. So anything they can get to help out with the school is greatly appreciated.
So if I actually manage to make it out there this summer, like we've been talking about me doing, are you going to be able to get me into this place?
I could sure try. I'm sure I could call them up, and we'd have to drive out here. It took us about 4 hours, Sean?
Well, we're going to be in Bloomington. How far is it from Bloomington? Is it in the opposite direction?
I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. I'd have to look and see for sure. I'm not really positive on that. If it's in the opposite direction, if it is, it'd be pretty far. So, but I'd have to check it out.
Well, just think about it.
Okay, I will think about it. So, who's your guest tonight? Who's your guest tonight on the show?
It's Aaron Collins from Paranormal Crossings. We're going to have a good time. I met Aaron at the Oregon Ghost Conference this year. He was the host of the panel that I was on, where we were basically berated, not by Aaron, but by another person on the panel for being, you know, I don't know, like Satan people, I guess.
Oh, well,
awesome.
You know.
That sounds like good times.
You missed that, Ben. I know you weren't at the conference this year, and you missed that. I will tell you that.
It was my third eye. That's why.
Yeah.
I knew what was going to happen.
I walked out of that, off the stage, out of that panel, and Jay came up to me and said, "What the hell was that?" I said, "Oh."
That sounds just like Jay too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be kind of evil. So, you know, it just depends on what mood you're in. So, you know.
It's true. When I have PMS, I'm a little evil. It's, you know, but that's just that.
What woman isn't?
Yeah, that's good. Right? That is a good point there, sir. That's a very good point. Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go so you can take over and have fun with the show. I just wanted to stop in and say hello really quick.
All right. Hey, you have a great time, and your team, enjoy yourselves, and, you know, get some activity and send me EVPs and stuff.
Okay. Well, so everybody say goodbye.
See you guys later. Chuck.
All right. Later. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good night. All right. So, Ben.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you tell our listeners about you? You've been on the show before, but you haven't co-hosted before.
Well, I like long walks on the beach.
Mm-hmm. Pina coladas, getting caught in the rain.
Yes. My name's Ben Robinson, of course, and I have been formally investigating paranormal phenomena for, about 7 years now. I originally started a group called the Paranormal and Occult Research Team. Ran that for about 5 years. Decided wanted to kind of go on a single, more autonomous level, and that segues into the nonprofit I run now, which is called the Autonomous Studies of the Enigmatic and Paranormal, which is a mouthful. So most everybody always refers to it as ASAP. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of one of those guys that takes a very science-based approach, but I'm very, very open and embrace the sci end of this field of research as well. I think it's equally as important, if not at times more important. So.
Oh, see, now you flatterer. You're just saying that because you've investigated with me before, and you know how woo-woo I am when I investigate. Well, I don't so much investigate as I communicate.
Right. Yeah. And you know, I honestly, I really think truly that there is a very serious place for it in this field. I think it kind of started with it, the human interaction there in itself. So if we were to get arrogant and ignorant about this field of research, which I think at times happens, you're going to have that. You're going to have people who go, no, it's science and it's gotta, be explained by whatever, factors, when in fact we've got things that cannot be measured or, detected on equipment. And yet you got folks like yourself who have these abilities to tap in and they can confirm, corroborate with other things as well. So I honestly do believe very much in.
I know you do. Yeah. I'm just teasing you.
Stop it.
It's the hazing. Okay, I'm done. I'm no more hazing, Ben.
Is that hazing, like hazing network? Hazing?
Yeah, the hazing network. That's us.
There we go.
So, and you are a fellow Pacific Northwesterner, which I like. You're just down the road a bit from me.
Yep. And
you've worked with us at the museum before.
I have indeed. I've been very, very graciously permitted to come in there, as a invitation from yourself, as a matter of fact. And, very fascinating location. So I want to go back. Need to go back.
Yeah. Well, you just need to let us know that and we'll work something out. So we're having a big shindig there tomorrow night. You probably know about it. We're having a public investigation but it's only open to 14 people. It was supposed to be 10, but we went over a little bit. And Yeah, right. I know it's a paid investigation. It does not benefit us. It benefits the museum, who needs money. You know, the museum needs money because they had their endowment fund embezzled a few years ago. And so, our
that
good
was
friend,
good stuff.
yeah, good stuff. Our good friend Jay Verberg will be here. And only Ben and Cheryl can see me doing this. He's our celebrity.
As I did earlier, and you guys only saw it, I did I said quote unquotes, but I also threw it up.
The air quotes, that's right.
Yeah.
I did the bunny ears. And, you know, because Jay's just Jay, but he's going to be there. And, I guess Michael will be down for a little while too.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Michael White.
Michael White. Yep. Yeah, he's an amazing. Both those guys I consider very close friends and great colleagues to have in this field. So yeah, you guys are gonna have a lot of fun.
We are, and I'm really actually glad that Michael's going to be there, because part of this is people who have never investigated before, and we're going to be letting them use our equipment and things. And so I'm really happy that there will be people there that can teach them, because I'm not allowed to touch the equipment, as you've probably heard me say before.
Yeah. You keep breaking things.
I am not the one who turned off your cameras, though. That was Andy.
I can't tell if it's just your temper tantrums and you're throwing equipment.
Yeah, it could be that.
Or it's your psychic abilities. I don't know.
It's the brain. I do that brain freeze stuff. You know that. I have a big brain and I try to hurt people.
How's that go again?
See, it would be so much better if people could see us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we have such
an
unfair
visual
advantage here.
We really do. That was a visual, but yes. So we're doing that Saturday night, excuse me, and we're going to have a good time with that. We're looking forward to that. This is the first time we've done tours, but this is the first time we've invited people from the public to come in and pay us. We'll pay the museum, so it'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see, because when we had our tours 2 weeks ago, we had a lot of activity. The spirits were really interactive with the tour groups.
Nice. Is Andy going to be there too?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Good. Tell him hi for me.
I will do that. Yes. Well, we'll work out something so we can get you back up here, because, you know, you're a parabro.
That's right. Hopefully someday I can make it up to,
Wellington?
Thank you. I was totally drawing a blank. But yeah, I want to get up there. That's a bucket list for me.
We tried to schedule that last summer and it just didn't work out. Well, you know, I mean, I think we kind of tried to schedule it after everything was already scheduled for the summer. And I had weird limited time because I had a kid heading off to college. And so, yeah, last summer was strange. But maybe we can get it scheduled this summer and get everybody up there. Because I know there are quite a few of, people down in your neck of the woods who would like to go up there. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's something that a lot of us have been chomping at the bit to, get up there and see and experience. So.
One of these days, Ben. One of these days.
Right in the kisser.
That's not what I mean.
Oh, wait. No, that's not the line, is it?
No, that's a right turn, Alice. No, right turn slide.
To the moon, Alice.
To the moon, Alice. That's right. I don't know. It's all, I get them all mixed up because my husband threatens me with all of those. So I sort of mix them together.
Yeah, well, it's probably like my house. I make a lot of threats. They're all empty.
Yeah, right. So you're, I'm just going to say it on the air because I said it before we went on the air. So you might be willing to take this haunted doll that I don't like much. It's, it's not anything that she's doing. So tell Nicole, it's not anything that she's doing. It's just, my energy doesn't mesh with her energy.
Yeah, that's going to be the person I have to convince, and rightfully so. But I would definitely be up for it. I would love to see what changes, introducing it into our environment, and then maybe even run some tests as well. So I'll talk to her.
Yeah, and like I say, just put her in a circle of sea salt, or even if you can get like a glass dome or something, those things tend to sort of contain that stuff. So,
well, I was going to try a circle of fire. Would that work?
Oh, yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. I for what, maybe 5 minutes, you think?
Probably, till it gets too warm in the room, and I'll be like, all right, let's put that out.
Oh my God. Okay, so Ben, I know you just love it when people talk about your beard. We actually already have a question in chat about your beard. It's Robin Marie, and she wants to know if the beard has a link.
I probably should create one, I guess. Popular demand.
Well, you've how long you've had that beard for ages, haven't you?
Yeah, I came out of the womb with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, honestly, I'm very flattered when people. I see so many beards, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm like, oh, that's a badass beard. That's a badass beard. And then I get lots of compliments. So I'm going to have to go with the fact that mine's kind of a pretty rockin' beard. So maybe I should do something for it.
Yeah, it is especially magnificent, apparently, because I hear a lot about your beard, too. I mean, so,
I'll have Nicole take some specialty pictures of it, with like beer and pizza stuck in it, and get a Facebook page going for it right away.
No, here's what you can do. Okay, so you can take the pictures, but then carefully trim out, but make sure they're life size, and then carefully trim out your lips and your face and stuff, so that it's just the hair and the beard and the mustache, and then people can wear it themselves.
Oh my God.
That's $1 million idea right there, Ben.
That is a great idea. Do I owe you any royalties for this?
No, this one's free. You can have that one.
Because this is all on the air. It's been recorded, so.
That's right. You are welcome.
Thank you.
So I see Nicole's in the chat room. So when I said, are you going to take the haunted doll, did she actually yelp from across the room or anything?
No, she didn't, actually. And actually, I don't see her in there. I must have to refresh that page.
Yeah, you probably have to refresh it. I'm sure it says Nicole K. That's got to be her, right?
Oh. Yeah, I think so. Oh.
Yeah. Well, see, but she's in the chat room. They're like on about a 20-second delay from us or something.
Oh, because
that way we can hit the button if one of us drops an F-bomb. Since one of us has been known to do that on the show before. So
I wouldn't I wouldn't think it would ever be you.
It was. Yeah. It was like the happiest night of Rick's life was when I dropped an F-bomb on the show and he got to and he didn't. Oh, okay. So let's see. What else should we talk about? So you weren't at the Ghost Conference. You know what? So you're down in a little further south than I am, and you were in Vancouver. Are you still in Vancouver? Or are you in Portland?
Yeah, I live in Vancouver. Work in Portland, so I dub myself a Washingtonian.
Okay. So what down there is good? Where should people go for haunted places down there?
Well, I mean, when it comes to your typical run-of-the-mill mainstream haunted locations, you've got the White Eagle Saloon, which is ran by the McMenamins brothers restaurant chain. That's a pretty well-known location, and that's in Portland. You've got locations like the Shanghai Tunnels. I wouldn't say, in my opinion, that are so much haunted because of the whole Shanghaiing thing as it is with just the history that had utilized over the years for different reasons for that. You have Old Town Pizza, as also known for having great pizza, but also a local spirit named Nina, who is believed to be a prostitute that was thrown down a elevator shaft when she tried to run away from the whole prostitution gig. You've got locations as well, like the Pittock Mansion.
I love the Pittock Mansion. It's got the best. Beautiful. It's got the best energy. I walked in that place and I immediately felt like, it's just.
It's a
wonderful.
Very light, loving feeling, and that kind of gives you the idea of what kind of kindred spirits are, I think are residing there.
Yeah.
A little north of Vancouver is a town called Longview. If people are within that range that they're willing to make the drive up there, I highly recommend that they check out the Rutherglen Mansion. It is, not only is it picturesque, it's just a beautiful piece of property with a rich history that ties very much to Longview itself, and if they want, they can even stay in it as a B&B. But yeah, there's places all over the Portland area, like Edgefield, which is also another McMenamins ran location. And you name it. I personally don't do a lot of those because I'm so busy with helping, clients themselves with issues, which, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, Nicole and I have an interview with a client, which is I can't say a whole lot just out of privacy and anonymity, but very, very interesting case that was referred to us. Tied kind of with a Catholic priest down in Texas. So, very, very interesting, kind of, way to kind of get information from a case that I've never had. It's been usually the clients just give you everything, but in this case, it's the client's given us some information, but we've spent some time also chatting with this Catholic priest too. So
interesting. Well, I like those cases that we had one up here that we actually had White Light Paranormal come in with us because it was such a big
love
property.
Them guys.
They're wonderful, and it was such a big property with so many buildings, barns and barn offices and stalls in the house and a trailer, and so it was like that. It was just layers upon layers upon layers of things that created this unique energy on this property that was just insane, just crazy.
And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't consider or either talk about is kind of the whole feng shui or however you really pronounce it. You go into certain homes, and because of the stuff either that they've accumulated, whether they were hermits or just pack rats, or sometimes even folks that are very clean freaks and have a very open place. It's different how the energy is in each one of those as a result of the items that are placed there and their orientation and the way the energy flows through there,
Yeah, we had, and this one was as much things that had happened within the family that lived there that kind of imprinted the energy as it was. There were some spirits sticking around, but then we had this other place that, I went and did a walkthrough and the team never investigated. And the reason that you made me think of it was because it was so cluttered. It was like the team couldn't have investigated because it was almost hoarderish. But, as I was going through and doing my thing, because when I do a walkthrough, I try to pick up on the energy so I can give the team information about what they can do when they go in, where to look, things like that. Put your camera here, Right. But I stopped at this bookshelf and there was this little thing on the shelf, and I stopped and I stared at it and I said, "Can I touch this?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." And I picked it up and it was like this whoosh of information and energy. It was his father's frickin' ashes. So my advice is don't do that.
Did it throw you for a loop? Were you not able to?
No,
okay.
I was totally able. It was like this whoosh of everything, and it was so strong that it was almost, it was overwhelming. It was just so strong, and what it did is it just absolutely took my energy down and out. After I was able to, tell them all this stuff about their father, I was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. And
right.
I'm never gonna. And I didn't know when I asked to touch it that that's what it was.
Yeah, I had a case once where. One of the questions we asked in the preliminary questionnaire was, is there any remains of any, people on the property?
Yeah, we ought to start including that one.
Yeah, and, it's just good information to know when you go in. And they said no. And we're sitting there investigating, and we come into this kind of like a formal sitting room. And on this bookshelf, and there was a kind of a memorial, the picture and some, small items that belonged to him. And he was a dedicated actor for this theater, which is in Vancouver, which is another location, the Slocum House, which I've investigated several times. But the person's remains are there, and we were, like, oh, well, that would have been good to know. And had that had anything to do with any of the other activity that may have taken place, would have been just kind of good information.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to see if we can put that. I don't think that's on our questionnaire, so it probably should be, so that I don't just go willy-nilly asking to touch things that,
Yeah, and another one I might suggest putting on there, and this was all from, experiences that I've had over the years, was asking if there's any firearms, loaded firearms, or manufacturing of illegal drugs, because one case we were not afforded to do a walkthrough, meet the clients in advance. We had to travel overnight to get to them during the winter. It was kind of one of those, rush cases because there was a child involved. So we never really got to have a whole lot of dialogue or anything. We get down there, they leave, they say, okay, you got the rent of the house while we're gone. We're like, okay, they're fine. And they can sign off with one of the forms that I created, saying that. So that way, if the police show up, we can go, hey, we have authorization. We got their names and numbers. Here's where they are. Let's talk to them. Well, we're investigating. Within 15 minutes, we discover loaded weapons at every corner of the house. We discover a trained, closed circuit television surveillance camera on the front door.
Oh my!
We're tracking down, doing our EMF sweep. We're tracking down this huge EMF spike that's going on, and we find a hidden room with their hydroponic system set up in it. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
We have like two of those three things. So
hydroponic for sure. I know.
Not that one, but we have we have weapons in the house, and so I actually ask people about weapons because we have them in the house because my husband's a gun nut. So
it's just smart because if you're walking around in the dark and you accidentally kick a shotgun over and it blasts, your buddy's leg off, that kind of ruined what you were there to do. You may create another ghost, but that may be not what you're wanting to do.
Right. So let's do this. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we will be talking to Aaron Collins. So stick around, you guys. This is me, Karen Frazier, with Ben Robinson, our special guest co-host this evening. And you're listening to Paranormal Underground Radio in the Dark here on the Hazy Radio Network. We will be right back.
Hey everyone, it's me, Chucky G, and I'm here with Karen Frazier.
We'd like to invite you to join us on Hazy Radio every Thursday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific, 10 to midnight Eastern for Paranormal Underground Radio, in the dark with Karen Frazier and Chucky G.
We'll be exploring the paranormal and featuring the latest in spiritual and metaphysical topics, as well as interviewing intriguing guests.
So please join us every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern for 2 hours of exciting paranormal radio on hazyradio.com.
Do you want to keep up with what's going on at Paranormal Underground?
Then tweet us on Twitter at ParanormalUG.
Or follow us on Facebook at Paranormal Underground.
Meet us on MySpace, Paranormal Underground.
There's no need to be in the dark about what's going on at Paranormal Underground. Join us on your favorite social networking site today.
Hey everyone, it's Karen Frazier from Paranormal Underground Radio. I'm here to tell you about my latest book, Pioneer Spirits, Investigating the Haunted Lewis County Historical Museum. In the book, I got together with Patty Valdez, South Sound Paranormal Research. SSPR has actually interacted with the ghosts at the Lewis County Historical Museum for more than 7 years, and the experiences that I've had there as a volunteer and paranormal investigator have been significant. So I'm excited to share the story of the ghosts there with you. I hope you'll pick up a copy of Pioneer Spirits so that you too can know what it's like to encounter one of Washington State's most active haunts. This book is available on Amazon.com, or you can visit my website at authorkarenfrazier.com.
Hey everybody, this is Rick Hale, host of Common Sense Paranormal. Listen to me on hazyradio.com Thursday nights, 8 to 9 p.m. Central.
While cutting molding with a 12-inch dual compound miter saw, while holding a newborn baby in your arms, when face-to-face with a congregation of alligators, with the ball in your hands and the entire freaking season on the line.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting, so why would you do it while driving? NASCAR driver Casey Kane here, asking you to please stop the text, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Get the message at stoptextstoprex.org.
Hello, this is Patty Valdez with South Sound Paranormal Research, and you're listening to Chucky G and Karen Frazier on Paranormal Underground Radio in the Dark on the Hazy Radio Network.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Hazy Radio Network, its affiliates, or sponsors. All shows are independently owned and broadcast for entertainment purposes only.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Paranormal Underground Radio in the Dark here on the Hazy Radio Network. I am Karen Frazier. Sitting in tonight for Chucky G is the fabulously bearded Ben Robison.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And the song that you were listening to was called The Crystal Ship by Creation Mind. And I just have to say to Cheryl, that is way better than the Christmas music from a couple weeks ago. So.
Oh, I remember that. That was torturous.
She totally wanted to play that. We're like, it's going to be Christmassy. No, I think it sounds so cool. Oh, so from the other laughing you hear, we have our guest on the line, and we are going to be talking tonight to Aaron Collins. He is the co-founder and lead investigator of Northwest Paranormal Investigative Team, and he is also the host of the TV show Paranormal Crossings, and like 4 other paragraphs that I'm just going to let Aaron tell us about instead of me having to read them so that I don't stumble over the words. Aaron, welcome to the Underground.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate you asking me to be on.
Yeah, so I enjoyed meeting you. I met you, of course, at the on that really terrifying panel that I did at the Oregon Ghost Conference, where I was called all kinds of names. Yeah, thank you. We survived. We survived. Right. So one of the things that I don't know, maybe Chuck said it or Cheryl said it or somebody said it, is that you are an ordained minister?
Yes, correct.
What are you I am too. What are you an ordained minister in?
Really?
Yeah.
Non-denominational Christian.
Okay.
I actually was a worship leader for almost 10 years for my church, and I had become ordained, and I've done weddings. I'm getting ready to do a funeral, unfortunately, here soon. But no, I've been doing this for a long time.
Wow. So I'm actually an ordained metaphysical minister. But I think it's great that you mix the religion and the paranormal. And I know people are going to be like, what? But we have an ordained Lutheran pastor on our team.
Wow.
Yeah. And, then we have a couple non-denominational, and then we have me, the metaphysics chick. So I think that really meshes well with what we do when we're working with clients. Do you use that background at all in your work?
I do. I pray, of course, before every investigation. And we just recently, you all know who June Lundgren is.
Yes, she was on the show.
Yes, she's amazing. She's our psychic medium on our team, and she had asked me to go with her on a demonic removal, which is not something that I do, and I'd mentioned that at the Ghost Conference. I am in no way equipped to do that type of thing, but I did go to support her, and of course prayed before we got there, and once the removal was done, which I don't know if you guys have ever done anything like that or seen anyone in person do that, but oh my gosh, I can't even explain the feeling of being there, the feeling of dread, the feeling of darkness, the feeling of hopelessness. And I mean, it was unbelievable. And this poor man, he was just so broken. I had never seen anyone so not having any life in him, really. You look in his eyes and it's just dark because he was so whipped. I mean, 24 years of having to deal with this.
Yeah.
And his wife had passed away 2 years prior, and he felt that this demonic entity actually had a hand in her death. But aside from that, I mean, once it was done, afterwards, I had never seen a transformation in someone like I did with him, and it was absolutely amazing. Of course, after we were done, we all got in a circle and prayed. I always pray. I mean, I'm always asking God to be with me no matter what I do. If God tells me not to do something, I'm not going to do it. And I'll be honest about it. And so, but, we've heard from this gentleman since then, and he said, I have not felt this much peace in so many years. And to me, that just warms my heart.
That's
yes,
awesome.
It's great doing investigations. It's great being in the paranormal field, but really to help somebody like that was amazing. June, of course, using her God-given, gifts, and able to do what she does is absolutely just mind-blowing in my opinion.
Now,
so it works well.
Do you find, Aaron, that you guys come across these kind of cases with regularity?
No. Honestly, this is the second one I've done. First one was more personal. She wasn't involved, and it really wasn't my team. It was me and two other pastors that did this. And, most of the cases that I have done, actually all of them, but two, have been non-demonic, demonic. And so this was rare for me. And so I really wanted to, even though I always vowed to never be a part of any of this type of thing, exorcisms or anything like that, because, if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not going to go subject myself to that and open myself up to that. So, but I got pretty well prepared before going to do this, and I felt confident enough. And, of course, I had June with me, so It was great.
Yeah, and I can only imagine, for you, probably one of the deciding factors was, you normally probably wouldn't have delved into this. However, you saw in that man's face what kind of pain and strife and everything he was going through as a result, and that probably was a big motivator for you.
It was, and my wife also assisted, and she's new to the paranormal. She's always been interested, but she's fairly new to the team, and so I've kind of brought her on. I've been teaching her how to investigate and things like that. So I asked her, I said, do you want to go and do this now? And I explained to her what this really means, and she was willing to do that because June was going to be there, and she felt as well as I did well protected.
Sounds like you guys had some pretty good strength, formed between the three of you, especially. Now,
we do.
I know you bring in the religious end of, this side of your efforts and research and everything, involvement in this field. Is there anything else that you feel like you use as a benefit whether it's a hobby, skills from hobbies or past jobs or current job that you feel bring some kind of, asset to the table as a result?
I do. I mean, I think that everybody has life experience. And, in my mid-40s, I've been through quite a bit, and I've done a lot of things professionally. One of them, what got me into investigating in the first place was I worked retail loss prevention for a company, a sporting goods company. And so I did that for a number of years and worked my way up to a resident agent, which is where I did internal investigations as well as external. So not just busting shoplifters that walk in from the street, but also, unfortunately, there was a lot of internal theft with employees.
Right.
And that's one of the most difficult things to do in that type of setting, because you're having to sit down and interrogate someone you work with, in a sense. You work for the same company, they know you, they see you every day, and so it makes it tough. But at the same time, through the ministry that I've done over the years, people open up a lot to me, and I find that all the time in my personal life as well as investigations. And so when I come in to do an investigation, not only am I bringing years of investigative experience, but I'm also bringing the minister side. I'm also bringing the person that cares. I have a big heart for people. I care about people, and it's genuine. And so I'm not there for glory. I'm not there for, oh my gosh, I did another investigation. Woohoo, it's great and all, but I'm there for a purpose, and the purpose is to help somebody.
And I think
if I could do that.
I was going to say, I think honestly that dynamic right there is very crucial, because you got a lot of selfish people out there doing this quote unquote research for the wrong reasons. It's not to help people. It's about, going in there and having a thrill or some kind of cool experience, or maybe to get rich because they were able to create some kind of hoax or whatever. Yeah. And the fact that because my heart's in the same place. I'm there to help people. So I like that.
That's awesome. And I appreciate that, and everybody on my team has the same heart. We all work well together. June is actually everyone on my team, I have to say, is really my family member. I mean, we're not blood family, but we are brothers and sisters. And I like that, because the closer we are on a personal level, the better we are at going into investigations and helping other people. And we do that collectively together. And if it ever comes to a time where it doesn't happen, I'm going to stop doing it. But I don't ever see that happening. So.
Yeah. One of the questions that I ask people a lot, not necessarily so much on this show, but when I talk to people, especially people who are really new to the paranormal, is they say, okay, well, we're doing it because we want to help. And I think that's fantastic. And so then I ask them, well, how do you help? And do you know how many blank looks I get when I ask that question?
That's an awesome question.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, how do you help? And they're just kind of like, I don't know.
I hug them.
Exactly. It's funny because you see a lot of the shows on TV, and of course I would never name any of them, but there's some shows that, they go in and they do this investigation and they show the client what they found, and and this is what's going on, and blah, blah, blah. And then, okay, well, if you ever need our help again, well, what kind of help were you really? I mean, you were able to capture things on audio and video, and congratulations. I mean, anybody can do that, really.
And that scared the crap out of the clients,
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, there's no aftercare. There's no, so I always wonder about that stuff, because we strive to help in any way we can. So yeah, I think that there's, I think that there's a lot of, especially the newer teams, that they think that just going in and capturing evidence is helping. And that's part of helping.
Well, you gotta find out, if in fact there is something, what it is, right? If that's even possible to do. And then after that, it's like anybody that knows me knows that I've always preached the concept that you, not only are you there to do some kind of investigative research, but you also are a form of support group for these poor people.
Right.
And if you can't do that, then you've essentially failed in your efforts to help them.
Yep, I just spent Tuesday morning with two very scared little old ladies. So, yep, and
oh my goodness,
sat and talked to them and walked with them and worked with them, and I gave them my phone number and said, "Call me if you need anything." So, yeah,
right.
So, Aaron, I have a question for you from Dave in chat. He wants to know, as someone who is ordained, what do you think the role, if any, is of scientific instruments being used for an investigation?
Okay, read that one more time. I'm sorry.
Sure. As someone who is ordained, what do you think of the role, if any, that scientific instruments or technical instruments play in an investigation?
Well, obviously, as a minister, I mean, it really doesn't do any good. I mean, an EMF detector is not going to tell me that it's demonic. Now, I believe that spirits, negative spirits, can portray themselves to be whatever they want us to perceive, however they want us to perceive them, and so they can change voice, they can change their appearance. That's my belief, but then again, they can appear to be demonic, but that doesn't mean they're demonic. So, I used instruments such as the EMF detectors, the K2 meters, the digital recorders, the video recorders, the stationary cameras. I mean, we've got the whole bit, but really, I've always felt that our biggest tool is our bodies. And,
I agree.
You walk into a place, I mean, you can relate, Karen. I mean, you walk into a place, I'm sure Ben can too. You walk into a place, you can tell. You can tell if the negativity's there, when all your hairs, and I have no hair on my head, but it stands up. I don't know where it came from, but it stands up. And it's like, oh my gosh, I scream like a little girl,
The hair on my beard sticks out.
Right. Exactly. Well, and I can relate to that one too. But, so I think that it's great using the technology that we have today, of course. I think it's more for the people that we're doing the investigation for. I think everybody who has paranormal activity in their home or business, wherever, it's more of confirmation. Okay, I'm not crazy. These people came in, they caught the same type voices on the recorders, they saw the shadows on the video, so, okay, great, I'm not crazy. Okay, well, now let's determine what it is. And that's where a lot of people, I think, stop with their investigations. And then, okay, well, great. And then they're done, and okay, well, what kind of help did you provide, as we were talking before about that. Right. Anyway, I hope that answers your question, Dave.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have another. Do you want to add on to that before I ask the next chat question, Ben?
Nope. No.
Okay. So Rick wants to know, how do you know it's a demon and not just a jerk of a human spirit?
That's a good question, and that's what June is for. I hate saying it like that, but, honestly, it is tough for us to determine. But there are things associated with a demonic presence, the smell. It's the sulfuric smell. What I felt was an unbelievable, when we were walking up the stairs in this gentleman's house, because June targeted this entity up in his room, his master bedroom. And we're talking, this house must have been at least 3,500 to almost 4,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. Large, very large house. We get into that room, but on the way up the stairs, June's in front of me, I'm following her. It was the overwhelming, oppressing feeling. I felt like my heart, I literally thought in my head I was going to have a heart attack. My heart was beating so fast and so hard, and I just felt ill. I started feeling sick, started getting a headache. I mean, demonic entities, these are the powers of the demonic entities. It's also often with high EMFs, of course. That's, here's something that kind of is a little bit similar. The high EMFs will what? Give you hallucinations, make you sick, things like that. This was a little different. I mean, I can only describe it. It's hard to describe, really, because it's something you feel in your body, and you know the difference. You can feel the difference.
And that's actually a good point to bring up. Whether or not people out there do believe in demonic entities or not, we don't have a demon meter out there, that, like you said earlier, we don't have kind of, a smell-o-vision or anything where you can smell these things. It's all a very personal human, capability of detecting or adding them all together to be able to do that. It's, it's that oppressing feeling just the feeling of hatred when you walk in there, the smells, the visuals, and everything that go along with it.
Right. Well, it's a couple of people who had over the years had spent the night at that house in a spare bedroom, and both of them had to be rushed to the hospital because they were attacked. Now, he was attacked every day in different forms, and towards the end, we were his last hope. I mean, that's basically what he said. He had another team come out, and they did what they could to remove whatever was human, their spirits, but they didn't have the ability to remove the demonic, and so they had asked June if she could do that, and that's how we ended up there. But these things are nasty, and I'm telling you, I have a personal friend, he's more like a brother to me, who had an attachment, and that's what that first demonic removal was for. It wasn't really a possession. It was attached to him, but he wasn't possessed. And it was, I have never, if you've ever had an experience where you were either touched by a demon, attacked by a demon, breathed on by a demon, it is the most terrifying feeling that you'll ever have, in my opinion. And that happened to me. I was downstairs in this bathroom that adjoined two rooms, and that's where I felt led. Everyone else was upstairs because I felt the end to go downstairs. And I said, let me go down there. Let me just go down there. I don't know why I said that, to be honest. But I go down there, and I'm praying all the way. I go in this room, and I kid you not, I hear the clicking noises on the tile floor like long nails. Well, there's a dog in the house. The dog was a little bitty dog, dachshund, little mini dachshund. So just before I turned around after hearing the clicking, because I thought it was the dog's nails, I felt this breath, and I heard, and it came, now I'm 5'10", so it came from above me. Whatever it was very tall, and it breathed down on the back of my neck. I quickly turned around. There was no dog, but I tell you what, every hair in my body was standing up. And I yelled upstairs, where's the dog? The dog had never even come downstairs. And so I yelled, they all came down, and boy, I'll never forget that experience. But that entity also took shape of myself. And when my friend was down there, I was on one end of the hallway. He was on the other end of the hallway. He had his Bible in his hand. He had been crying, just sobbing this whole time. While we just prayed and kept praying. And the other two pastors were the ones that were really doing everything. I was there to help and just be supportive. But anyways, he said, I saw him turn and walk into a bedroom, my friend. And then he comes out, and the look of terror on his face, he said, how did you get down there so fast? And I said, what do you mean? I've been down here since I came downstairs. And he said, no, you just came in the bedroom. You told me to follow you. And I just followed you in the bedroom. And so, oh my gosh, I just felt ill because I didn't go in the bedroom. I was standing at the end of the hall by the bathroom. So these things are nasty. And what do they want to do? They want to destroy us. They make you feel crazy, and they destroy lives. So.
Wow. You know what? We're a few minutes short of our break time, but it seems like this would be a good point to break so that we don't cut you off mid-sentence or something.
Okay.
So let's do this. We're talking to Aaron Collins, and of course, sitting in with me is Ben Robinson, and you're listening to Paranormal Underground Radio in the Dark here on the Hazy Radio Network. We will be right back, and when we come back, we'll have more with Aaron. Stick around.
You are a waste. Loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Babies, you gotta just roll with that flow. Yeah, right into the great daylight as the sun rises right there in your heart. starting at 7 a.m. Eastern Time and running right into high noon. You've got the Coyote Medicine Show in the mornings with your host, Grandpa Peter Coyote, helping you take flight right into the heart, baby. That's right. You got to know, you got to get in the flow. The Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network.
Hey, Hazy Radio listeners. Do you like animated movies and TV shows? Do you ever wonder just what goes into making the magic that appears on your screen? Join Doug Engler and Brandon Aarons every Sunday night for Animazing Radio. Animazing will feature everything in the animation arena, from voice actors and actresses to illustrators, producers, and more. Only on Animazing Radio will you find the very best in animation from around the world. Catch Animazing Radio every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on the Hazy Radio Network.
Hi, this is June Lundgren, Psychic Medium, and you're listening to Chuck G. and Karen Frazier on Paranormal Underground Radio in the Dark on Hazy Radio Network.
Hey, that was June. Aaron, that was June.
Hi, June.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
So we are back, clearly, on Paranormal Underground Radio in the Dark, and Ben and I are talking with Aaron Collins. Aaron, when we were off the air, you said something that I would like to have you repeat on the air about your team member who was ill.
Yes. This last demonic removal that I accompanied June on, one of my team members, who's an investigator in training, wanted to go, but he's ill and has to have surgery. And I told him absolutely not, because if you're sick, if you go in there not healthy, then you're vulnerable to attacks and possession. And I absolutely did not want that for him. So as hard as it was for him to hear no, he respected that, and I think he was happy afterwards that he didn't go with us.
Yeah, that's good that he was willing to listen to that, because our own personal intentions can get in the way and cloud and put you in danger at times. So yeah,
even if it's not demonic, even if it's just if you're not in a good frame of mind, if you're fighting with your significant other, if you've had somebody in your family die and you're horribly sad, if you're feeling physically or emotionally or mentally weak, it's probably best to not go and investigate. Would you guys agree with that?
Like, oh yeah, absolutely. It's like running a marathon. You have to prepare. You can't just jump out and start running. I mean, these people go through strenuous exercises and things like that to prepare themselves. Well, you have to do the same thing when battling a demon. I mean, basically that's what you're doing. And if you're not healthy, body, soul, mind, the whole bit, spiritually, then don't go, because you're more prone to be attacked or possessed. And that would be one of the worst things that could happen to you. It could kill you.
Even outside of, say, the spiritual end, you can still cloud your judgment and put yourself in a precarious situation that can kill you. For example, it was, I don't know, some years back ago, some folks who were, out thrill seeking and wanted to go to this haunted bridge trestle and wait for this haunted bridge. Well, it was an active bridge trestle still, and ended up getting in that classic scenario where they couldn't outrun the train. A real train came and killed them. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, I mean, and same goes for regular life. You get people out there. When I was, I've background in telecommunications, and one of the things they teach us about working with bucket trucks and all that is, you got to chalk your wheels, right? And
right.
They said, who are the people that normally get themselves killed because they didn't do this? And being a newbie, first thought is, oh, it's us newbies. They were like, actually, it's not. It's the old timers who got too cocky, too confident, and didn't do it and get their truck rear-ended by somebody, and their bucket turns into a catapult and kills them. So, it's the whole making sure you're doing it for the right reasons, making sure you're thinking it through, and obviously being healthy in general.
Yeah. Yep. So Aaron, let's switch gears a little bit, because I also noticed in your bio that you said that you had a rather terrifying first paranormal experience, and I like those. I like hearing those stories. So, would you tell us?
I will do that, yes. I was 10 years old. I was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. Of course, I lost my accent 30 years ago when I moved to Oregon. So, but I was 10 years old. I spent the night at a friend's house, just a couple of doors down, and the layout of their house on the inside was the exact same layout of my house, except for my room and his room were just opposite. So, but I could feel my way around in the dark. Well, my mom had night lights in every single outlet in the house. So it's like being in a football stadium at night. It's like, oh my gosh, you're not going to trip over anything. Well, my friend's family did not do that. So it was pitch black. I got up during the night. I was in my friend's room, had to go to the restroom, And so I had to feel my way in the hallway to the bathroom and go to the bathroom and turn around. I was getting ready to I opened the door and I was just about to turn the light off. And this person walked right in front of me, kind of slow. It was a woman, and at least that's what it looked like to me. She had long black hair, long black, like a bathrobe type of thing on, but she had no face. And what I mean by that is, she had skin and she had a skull, but it was just skin pulled over a skull, and I saw a nose, but no eyes and no mouth.
Ew.
And it was the most terrifying thing at 10 years old, obviously. I think people would be terrified now, And so the weird thing was, it was pitch black going to the bathroom, but right at that instant, out of nerves, I shut the light off, and I felt the breeze from her walking past me. But what was weird is when I looked down the hall where the direction she was going, the curtains were wide open and it was a full moon. And the moon was shining in, which illuminated that whole hallway, which wasn't like that just prior to me walking in there. I can explain that. But, so I ran back to the bedroom, and, I could see at that point, and, jumped in the bed to hide because, of course, you guys know as well as I do. Once you're in bed and you cover up to your head, you're safe.
That's right. You do have to jump over the part where they could reach out from underneath, though.
Thank you, Harry Potter, for that invisibility cloak.
Yeah. That's right. I can't have any limbs hanging off the bed. Let me tell you.
I hear you, man.
I do have a question though, Aaron. I always think about those kind of things, and it seems like it's crossed your mind as well too. That hallway was pitch black, but then right after you saw her, the curtains were open and the moonlight was coming through.
Right.
I know this may sound cheesy even when I ask it, but I wonder, do you think it's possible that maybe there was some connection with the moon and energy for her to be able to manifest and do that? So she kind of said, well, I need this, and opened the curtains right beforehand to help her in her efforts?
I do. I think that, yes, actually. I think you're 100% correct. That's my opinion. And what's funny is all these years, and that's really what stemmed my curiosity in the paranormal. What was that? What did I see? And I've had other ghostly, or paranormal experiences through my life before ever doing investigations. And I finally, it took 35 years. But 35 years later, I interviewed a psychic medium, and she's an author as well, who lives in Canada, and her name is Cheyenne Leo. And she and I, before I interviewed her, we were talking over Facebook Messenger. And I wanted to get to know a little bit more about her, so we were having a great conversation. And what happened was she had found me initially and wanted to do an interview with me for her magazine that she writes for, in Canada. And so I agreed to do it. So part of that story was obviously my first experience. So she said, I know what you saw. And I said, what do you mean you know what I saw? And she said, I've seen the same thing. And she said when she was a girl, she used to play at the cemetery all the time because she could play with the ghosts. And that's what she did. It's creepy as that sounds. Wow. She always felt safe with these people. But one day she was out there and she saw this woman with no face, and she asked the other entities or the other spirit there, what is she? What's wrong with her? Where's her face? What happened? And they said, that's the unmother. And she said, well, what is an unmother? This particular woman had lost her children, and she had spent all this time searching for her children, that had been her main focus even in death, that she had lost her own identity.
Wow.
And therefore, that's why there was no face. And so let me tell you, 35 years of trying to research and trying to figure out what I saw, and then to find out, oh my gosh, somebody else has seen this, because I thought I was the only one. I've told this story hundreds of times. This is the first time anybody had ever given me an answer.
Oh, dude, you just totally made something click for me, so thank you.
You're welcome.
This sounds like a awesome storyline for a horror movie, The Unmother. And I'm not trying to make jest, just so I make sure that you understand. I understand the horror that can come along with these, but I think we all understand too. There's the necessity of trying to bring light to a dark conversation in general. But
absolutely.
That's creepy, like the no face, the unmother title.
The unmother. That would be a good horror. But I have to tell you what you just made click for me, because this is really cool, because this is something I've been researching since 2009, I think. So up at on the panel I talked about my books about Wellington. Up at Wellington there is a spirit who presents with no face. That's what we call him. We call him No Face. And I even knew, I know who that spirit is. And now I understand why, because it was actually a spirit of somebody who lived. What the hell are you doing, Ben? He's playing with his K2 meter while I'm talking. Anyway, but it was actually somebody who survived the avalanche, but the rest of his family died except for his mother, and his whole life was defined by this avalanche. So he lost who he was as this little boy, and so I bet you, don't you think that's kind of the same thing?
Kind of.
I think it sounds like it. I mean, whether it be your children or your spouse or parents, brother, sister, constantly searching, and even in death, never finding that person, or just the lost feeling, I think that could happen.
Yeah, the real connection with a loved one that makes you lose your face, I guess. But
No, but it just because I have been trying to figure out why this kid who lived through the avalanche would be presenting as an adult with no face up at Wellington, but I know that's who it was.
I've always wondered about the symbolism, or if there is even symbolism, because I had a case many years back ago down in Sublimity where the youngest daughter in the house said that a woman who fit the description overall of the original family that built the home, but she had no eyes. Now, that's a pretty horrific sight as well, especially when you're a little girl, But at the same time, it was a very benign spirit. It never did anything harmful to her. So I always wondered, is there a symbolism to this? Because one of the houses I lived in, kitty corner of the duplex I lived in, kitty corner from that duplex, a young teenage girl was murdered. And the man actually got off scot-free, even though her blood was on his zipper, and she was stabbed and raped to death, right? Horrible thing.
Gosh.
However, she came to me at an age of 10 years of age, and presented herself. She had a patch over her left eye. Now, everything I've researched about her, she had no wounds. She had no defect with her eye or anything. So I always wondered, was there symbolism as well to that?
Wow, that's a good question. Yeah,
I think so, because think about it. And you guys are dudes, so you may not understand this as much, but when a woman, women feel like we're so powerless in so many ways anyway. And, rape is not about sex. It's about power. Yep. And but at the same time, we live in this culture where, especially right now, unfortunately, I'm sorry to get political, but a lot of women are blamed for their own rapes. What did I do? What did you wear? What did you? And so I just wonder if it's not wanting to see, or being afraid to look in herself because she's afraid that she caused it or something like that.
It's funny you say this, because she was known to be quote unquote promiscuous. There's no proof or anything. This was just like what the townsfolk, knew of her and what have you. So the fact that she was going to a party and there were older people, adults even, there, may allude to the fact or not, but.
Yeah. Spirits are crazy, are ridiculously symbolic. I'll tell you that, because they communicate with me. And this is the only place I can say that and not sound nuts, but they talk to me all the time. And much of what they do is they talk to me in symbols. And
Symbols.
They talk to me in symbols. They will send, like, okay, you guys both know Elaine Davison. One of the things she was saying is that if somebody was a lawyer, she sees a gavel for justice or things like that. And so they communicate in symbols a lot. They tend to be ridiculously symbolic, almost like crazy symbolic, like your dreams are, which totally have meaning, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me. Hey, I have a question in chat.
Sure.
Okay. Bob wants to know, since it is said that spirits can present themselves as they want, do you think some appear demonic just to get you to go away? Because that's what I would do.
Legitimate, really. That's a legitimate question.
I said that that's what I would do, I meant that's what I would do if I wanted people to go away.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't want to be bothered, and you can portray yourself as something, why not? Why wouldn't you do something to scare people away? Yeah, I think that's possible.
Yeah.
Bob, do you think there's misconceptions sometime too? Like people think that it's malevolent, demonic, non-human, when it's actually this grouchy old man who was alive and he was very, he was a hermit, basically. He didn't like to talk to people. Do you think that also can be misconstrued by folks as being demonic?
I think so. Yes, I think so. I think when, somebody said it, I don't know if it was you, Karen, at the Ghost Conference, but, somebody's a jerk in life. They're
that was
a jerk
me.
in death.
Yeah, that was
that
me.
Was you. Okay. And I agree with that. You're a negative person in life. You're going to carry that negativity. I mean, we are energy, so you're going to carry that negative energy with you. And I think that we can portray ourselves as something demonic, if you will, or it could be portrayed as something like that. So, yeah, I think that's very possible.
And I need to apologize real quick because I just realized I called you Bob. I think it was because the question came from Bob. Anyways, Aaron, I know who I'm talking to. I'm reading and then talking, and I'm clearly not good at multitasking. Anyways.
Hey, Sally, it's okay.
Yeah.
I look like a Sally for sure.
You're doing just
You're
fine.
Sally today. That's right.
That's right. Well, no, he's Chucky. He's Chucky G today. He's,
Chucky G.
He's in the co-host.
He's awesome.
Yeah, June's pretty good friends with him too, and she says the world of him. So.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
We love Chuck, but Ben was so gracious to come sit in, and I figured he'd be kind of fun,
I try.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Even if I get your name wrong.
It's okay, Sally. We're good.
Yeah. Okay, kids. So returning to our discussion, I forgot. It wasn't important.
Come on, Mom.
Oh, no, I know what it is. So, I do think that sometimes spirits, and I'd be interested actually in both of your thoughts on this. I do think that sometimes people who were jerks are really jerky spirits as well. But I also think that sometimes some of the things that we encounter are spirits who might be passing through our dimension who have never been human, but that doesn't mean they're evil. They just misunderstand, or they've never had the human experience, and so they don't know how to relate to us in any way, and so we don't understand it. So to us, we perceive it as being evil, when really it's just we don't understand their experience and they don't understand ours. What do you think, guys?
I agree. We lived in a house years and years and years ago in Vancouver, Washington, and every night at the same time, 10 o'clock, I kid you not, my youngest son, he's now 13, at the time he had to have been about 3 or 4, would wake up screaming, at the top of his lungs. And I remember running into the room, and he would be standing up in his bed and pointing at the corner of the ceiling. And so I'm looking up there and I'm thinking, what is going on? And so this happened continuously every single night. And Elise Wells, who's my co-host on Paranormal Crossings, she and I go way back, and I remember she came over to the house, and I didn't even know she was a psychic medium at the time. And we just never talked about stuff like that. And so, but anyways, I started talking to her about the things that were going on in the house, and then she said, there is she called it a witch type of entity that would come through, and it only passed through. It would pass through the same time every night.
It's like you're a way station. It's like a train.
Like, well, you know, like pay a toll or something if you're going to come through here. Come on.
Yeah, right.
But,
thoroughfare.
Right, exactly. And so that was crazy, and that happened until we moved. But there were some other things that happened in that house, just unreal.
I might want to know which house that was offline. I live in Vancouver, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as my thoughts on that, I think that's very true. We do it even in the living world, right? You've got different cultures that come around, and I'll be the first one to admit, you know, sometimes it rubs me wrong when somebody from a different country is here, and I'm like, well, we have our culture here. You're not doing it right. So I take it the wrong way. On a spiritual level, you know, you've got spirits coming in that may, you know, like you were saying, Karen, in your example, may not be from our, you know,
dimension.
And yet we misperceive that as being something else or as being demonic.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
I agree.
Definitely doesn't come across like a bob or anything, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I just think, because, Aaron, don't you think that true demonic cases are extremely rare?
I think so. I think they're more rare than it's portrayed on television, because, you know, you watch some of the ghost hunting things and it's like everybody's got a demon. You know, it's not like that, you know, and I wish they would be more true to real life, because again, I've only encountered it twice. And we're talking over a period of almost 20 years, about 15 to 20 years, you know. And so, you know, and you guys, you know, I'm sure you can attest to the same thing. It is rare, but it is nasty, and it's not something that I'd wish upon anybody to go through, to investigate, or even have a part of their lives for any reason. Yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah. What do you think about paranormal teams who actually choose to investigate these demonic, you know, I know a lot of teams that, without a lot of experience, who say, hey, we're going in on a demonic haunting tonight. I always think, yeah, right. But at the same time, what would you advise a young team when somebody contacts them and they're basically telling them all of the things that are really the signs of possibly a demonic, I don't want to call it a haunting, because I don't think demons are paranormal, is what I'm trying to say. So what do you think with these some young teams, or even some more experienced teams who don't have the theological background to handle demonic stuff?
Well, I think that we should all go in to every investigation, or approach every investigation, with skepticism, to a point. I'm not saying that, look, everybody who has called me and asked me to come do an investigation, I always, you know, interview first, and then I go in with skepticism, because you can't be a good investigator unless if you go into an investigation, oh, it's haunted, you know, okay, well, job's done, okay, all right, it's haunted, because, you know, then you've already set your mind up for it being haunted. So everything that is not paranormal is all of a sudden paranormal. Same thing with the demonic. If you don't, what I would advise a team, whether it be a brand new team or, you know, a veteran team, be prepared, research. Don't do anything unless you know what you're doing. It's the same thing with the Ouija board. I've talked about this so many times on Paranormal Crossings. Don't use the Ouija board unless you know what you're doing and you know how to close that portal, because if you don't know how to close it, everybody's screwed, basically.
Education is key. I mean, it's just absolutely essential. And I want to come back, as you actually gave me an opportunity to segue into Paranormal Crossing, so make sure I do that. But I can't tell you, Aaron, how many times I've brought a camera, like say a Sony Handycam, out and had it turned off and night vision mode is disabled on it. And I've brought it up to people who claim to do this kind of stuff. And I'm like, hey, turn this on. And, you know, well, I should back up and say they claim to be a science-based group. So, you know, they're using technology and that's what they throw
He
up
has to say that because I'm not allowed to touch technology. So he just would, because he would hand it to me and I would be like, what?
It would probably just go up in smoke if I handed it to you.
Right.
But, you know, I would tell them, can you enable this, you know, put it into night vision mode and turn it on? And they'd fumble around.
Wow.
And most Sony Handycams are very intuitive. Like, it's pretty easy, and they most all have the same rocker switch, even on the new modern ones. Now, where it gets tricky is the placement of that night vision switch. But again, if you can read, you know how to do it. Most of them would just get lucky enough to turn it on and go, there you go. I'm like, turn the lights off. What do you see? Nothing. That's weird.
Here's how easy it is. I can do that.
Yeah. So, back to, go ahead.
Oh, I think a lot of people get excited about the technology, and, you know, they get it in the mail or they go and buy it, and then they don't really learn how to use it. You know, in order to be effective and a good investigator, you need to know how to use your tools, and including the audio recorders, digital recorders, you know.
I have an RT EVP thing, you know, those RT EVP things that have like the little ghost box in them and stuff. I've had it for 3 years now, and it has never been in my possession because I keep giving it to other people to try to figure out how to use so that I can use it.
Well, and then when you go to use it, it's going to get broken because you're going to break it.
Probably.
Oh, jeez. Are you accident prone, Karen, with technology?
No, I'm just terrible with. I'm married to Techie McScience Geek, so I don't have to be technological. I'm woo woo instead.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Aaron, tell us a little bit about some of your other ventures like Paranormal Crossings.
You know, Paranormal Crossings happened as a fluke. My original co-founder of the NW Paranormal Investigative Team, he and I kind of went separate ways for a while, and he called me up one day and said, hey, I'm doing this Blog Talk radio show with this guy, and our host or the other host can't make it. Are you willing to step in and co-host with me? And I said, really? Because I had never thought about doing anything like that. And so I said, yeah, I'll do that. And so I did. And it went really well. They asked me to come aboard full time with the show, which I agreed to do. I just didn't believe in. I didn't believe in the producer's tactics and the way he was treating people, and so I opted to back out, and so I did. Then time went on, and I got another call from my original co-founder, and he said, "Listen, I got my own show now, and my co-host can't make the show. Would you be willing to step in?" I said, "Yeah, I'll do that. If you're not with this other person, sure, I'll do it." And so he didn't have a guest, and I said, "Well, I happen to have a friend who's a psychic medium, which is Elise." And I said, "What if I were to call her and we interview her on the show?" And he said, "Yeah, please." So I got in touch with her. She agreed, and she and I clicked. That's the first time she and I had done anything paranormal-wise together. So we just clicked. So it went so well. The show was great. She was amazing that we went on a vacation, her family and my family together, and we were talking, and she said, "You know what? Why don't we do this ourselves? Why don't we just do Blog Talk ourselves?" Because I brought it up to her at another time, but man, I'd love to do this myself. This is great. And so that's really how Paranormal Crossings was born. We went from Blog Talk Radio, which lasted a little while, which we thoroughly enjoyed doing. One of our first guests was David Oman from California, down on Kilo Drive. Yeah, so he was a great guest. He was amazing. But we had a lot of great guests, and I was very successful in finding really good guests for us. But then a friend of mine is an actor in L.A., Peter Holden. He's been on, he was on that Social Network movie. He was on Batman, one of the Batman movies. He was on a scary movie called Under the Bed, and then the most current paranormal type movie was Alien Abduction. And so he called me up, and he said, "Man, I heard your show." He said, "You got to put this on TV." And I said, "What?" It's not anything I ever thought about doing, right? So I said, "Okay, well, in ministry, I went to Metro East Community Media, which is in Gresham, Oregon, and I got certified on all the equipment so that I could film different events that we were holding as a Christian-based ministry group." And so having that fresh in my mind, I thought, well, I'll just go to Metro East. And so I did. And again, got certified on all the equipment, became a producer. I pitched the show idea to the studio, and they were floored because nobody had ever come into that studio and done any paranormal type of show before. So
That's
then
cool.
all of a sudden I got the interest of all the staff, and others. And so we started the show, and I just did what I was doing with Blog Talk, but, on camera. We did that for a year, and we had decided to kind of take a little bit of a break. It was a lot of work. You guys do this. It's a lot of work. And so I decided to take a step back. And then what really got me going back into it was Rocky from the Oregon Ghost Conference. Kristen Gray, actually, from White Light Paranormal Insight, who was amazing, by the way, at organizing that event along with Rocky and the others.
They did a great job, yeah.
Kristen's okay.
Kristen ran her socks off that weekend. Man,
I love Kristen to death. I like razzing her, and she likes razzing me. So yeah, she's a very motivated person.
She is, and she was great. And so they ended up being on our show at one time. But really, Kristen had said, "Well, since you're going to speak at the Ghost Conference, well, why don't you have Rocky on your show and do like a promotional type thing?" And I said, "That's brilliant. Let's do it." So I went back into the studio after not being there for about 3 months, I guess, 2 or 3 months, and did the interview with Rocky, which he was fantastic. I just love that guy, man. He's awesome. And so really, I got the studio on my back, constantly asking me, "When are you bringing the show back? When are you bringing the show back? When are you bringing the show back?" And so I'm in the talks of doing other film projects. One with a well-known author, which you also know, Karen. I'm sure you were on the panel with him, which is Jeff Davis.
Oh, yeah, I love Jeff. Mm-hmm.
Jeff's a buddy of mine too. Yeah,
he's a great guy. Personally, this man makes me feel so dumb. He is so intelligent, and he's a
pretty smart guy.
Oh my gosh, like I'm in second grade, it's like, oh my gosh, Jeff. But he's an amazing guy, and so we're working on a film project or talking about it. And so anyways, and then I was offered a reality show through someone else, and I agreed to talk about it. So I'm waiting to hear back on that. Just got a lot of things going on right now.
Man, you're living the life, dude.
Oh man. And honestly, in October, I was so fortunate to meet all you wonderful people at the Ghost Conference. And I met Nicole Strickland, and she's amazing. And we're talking about going to California in October. Me and Steve, who's on my team, the one who has to have surgery. He will be having surgery soon, within the next couple of weeks to a month. And so once he's completely recovered and everything, we're going down to California, and we're going to go. His brother is a helicopter pilot. He also was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. And he is part of an organization, a nonprofit, that buys Hueys, which are the helicopters from the Vietnam era, and they restore them to their original glory, basically. And some of these, they're talking about how the guys in the hangar and women who work with them to restore these, there's a lot of paranormal activity going on. So Steve said, "Oh my gosh, I would love for us to go down there." So we set it up. And so we're actually going to go down there in October. But talking to Nicole, we might hopefully go and meet with Nicole, and I'd love to investigate the Queen Mary, because I've never been there. Yep. So hopefully the month of October is going to be filled with California paranormal stuff.
Very cool.
So,
and Nicole is going to be on the show here in a few weeks, and she's also starting. Awesome. She's starting to write for Paranormal Underground magazine. So
I saw that. Congratulations, Nicole. I'm excited. She's awesome, and it was an honor to meet her, and she's such a sweet person. And my condolences to her and her family for their recent loss. But she's a great person.
Yeah, definitely. So I've only seen a few of the Paranormal Crossings. I'm sorry. I always mean to, whenever we have a guest coming on, I always mean to like binge watch. And then life gets away from me somehow. I just don't know why.
Oh man, what?
I know.
Life?
So
what?
I know, right?
The nerve.
I know, and I always have so many projects in the hopper. I have like 4 or 5 different projects going right now. I'm kind of juggling. But anyway, so explain the format. So what I saw was like interview format, but there's other stuff you do too.
Other stuff on the show, or
is it all interview format, or do you go out?
It's all interview. My thing was, okay, we see the ghost hunters on TV, and all these different ghost hunting shows and stuff. I thought, you know what? Let's sit down and talk to people in the paranormal field, because I find that sometimes more fascinating. So, we've been doing that, and that's what we did for a long time, and that's really how I met June. June, actually, I was advertising for Halloween. Last year, we were having a Halloween special, which we were the lucky ones to get in the hour-and-a-half Halloween special slot at the studio. So I was very excited about that. And we invited a live studio audience. And June had answered that ad. And then while talking to my director, because I have a million other things to do, I had him take the calls and organize that whole event, which he did amazing. Steve Zahn, by the way, did amazing guy. But June, after he found out she's a psychic medium, he said, well, how would you like to be on the show sometime? And so that's how that happened. And so she became a guest. She was a guest on my show twice. You only saw once, because the first one, I can't explain it, but the first taping, I had her and Tish Paquette, who's also a wonderful friend and psychic medium as well. I had 2 shows that night that I filmed, and back-to-back, June didn't make it for some reason. We used all the same equipment in the studio. We didn't change anything, but mysteriously, June's whole interview was gone. Even the studio couldn't explain it. Yeah. So I was embarrassed, and June had kept asking me, so when's the show going to air? I have so many people asking me, when am I going to be on TV? And I said, well, here's what happened. And I told her, and she goes, oh, well, I figured that would happen anyway. I said, why? And she said, because they won't let me be on. They don't want me to come on. I said, who's they? What are you talking about? And so she started talking about the negative entities. Don't want her to talk about it, or the dark side of paranormal. And so I invited her to come back. I said, would you please come back and let's do it again? And she agreed. Elise was out of town and couldn't make it, so my wife actually co-hosted with me. Is that one of the ones that you saw, Karen, by chance?
No, it isn't. I watched, the White Light Paranormal one.
Oh yeah, they were amazing.
Because they're my friends. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. And I would love to have them come back on again. But anyways, I have you guys on too, because I am planning on. They want me to sign up for another series. I'm just not prepared to do another series right now, just because of the time that it takes to do all that. But I will be doing special shows, maybe once a month or that type of thing. So I'd love to have you guys on too. So
you come up to Wellington with me. That would be your show.
All right, that sounds good. We'll do it.
So I actually have a guest suggestion for you. Because this is exactly why you came on my show. Do you know who Kevin Manis? Do you know who Kevin Manis is?
The name sounds familiar, but honestly, I don't know who that is.
He is the guy who bought the Dybbuk box at auction originally, and he lives down in Portland.
Oh yes, okay, yeah, that's why I know the name.
Yeah,
I've seen him before. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
That's who you need to have on. That's who you need to have on your show. I don't know if we still have Kevin's contact information, but if you're interested, I can get it for you.
Oh, absolutely. That would be awesome. It was cool. I haven't released this particular. Well, let me finish this June show real quick. We're doing the show. She said, "I'll bring Michael with me this time, Michael the Archangel," and I said, "Okay," because it sounds a little weird, right?
Yeah, you're watching for her to walk in holding hands with some big glowing dude. With
exactly,
wings.
Or John Travolta, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, with wings. So anyways, which I love that movie, by the way, but anyways, so she comes in and we're talking before the show. She's amazing. And we finally were on the set, and I said, so incidentally, I said, you had mentioned that you were going to bring Michael with you and ward everything else off so that we can do the show. And I said, is he here now? And she said, yes, he is. And I said, really? I said, well, where is he? And she said, oh, he's sitting up on the ladder. And I said, really? Okay. And I looked up at the ladder, and I asked the people in the control room, I said, can we have the cameras point to the ladder? Because I'm thinking, of course, now I'm investigating, right? Here I'm doing a show, but now I'm investigating. So
yeah, you've switched modes.
Exactly. So we're not going to see him now, but we'll see him on film, right? So that was my thought process. So we had 2 cameras look up there, and June says, and he's waving. And I go, okay, he's waving. Okay, so, I'm waving to him. So as we're talking, she said, I can just bring him back here. And all of a sudden, I felt, this is before my wife spoke up about this, but I felt something pass through my body that I've only felt one time, and that was doing an investigation at a private residence in North Portland, and an entity ran through me. That's what I believe is what happened. And I had never felt so, it's that energetic, like sticking your finger in a light socket or light bulb socket or something, it's just a burst of energy, and just, I was like, and so.
Your whole body buzzes.
Oh, yeah. And I had in my heart. I felt it in my heart, in my chest area. And I just thought, oh, my God. And here I'm on camera, so I'm not going to be like, oh, my gosh, what is that, And so I'm trying to kind of hold it together, trying to be a good guy, right? And before I could say anything, I was just like, wow. And my wife said, okay, wait a minute. Before you say anything, she said, the whole time she was sitting where she was sitting on the set, there was the air conditioner that was blowing right on top of her. And for about 4 seconds, she felt a block of that air right when she said that she was bringing Michael over. And I right at that time, none of us heard any, well, Christina and I, my wife, we didn't hear anything. But June, I asked her, I said, can we see him? And she said, he's not allowed to show himself to us. She can see him through her third eye and everything, but we're not allowed, I guess, he's not allowed to see. So anyway, she reached over, didn't say anything to me, just kind of reaches over and touches my forehead. I'm like, what is she doing? And the second she made contact with my forehead, I kid you not, I saw a wing, a white wing, go, spread out behind her halfway down the studio and then come back. And it was just in an instant, and I was seriously blown away, and I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. So in reviewing the show, now what she told me after the show was, you'll have to go back and watch this show. It's episode number 12, and I say that because you'll find it very interesting. I'm not gonna, because I want you to watch it, so I'm not going to tell you what it was, but there's something that happens at 37 minutes and around 44 seconds, somewhere around there, right after my wife says there's a break in the air.
Episode 12. Okay, so
Episode 12.
I actually do have time tomorrow between 2:30 and 3:30. Will that be enough?
That's perfect. And listen to that spot and listen to it with headphones, and you tell me. Okay. You'll have to either call me or send me a message and tell me what you think you heard.
Okay, I will.
But it blew me away.
We're Facebook friends, so I can do that.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
fascinating.
If you're interested in somehow getting in contact with Kevin, I can, I know Jason, who owns the Dybbuk box now, and I'm sure that he can put me in contact with Kevin. Yeah, so.
Absolutely. That would be amazing, actually. Yes,
yeah, well, have you seen some of those things where either Kevin or Jason are in studio and the stuff that happens?
Oh, it's crazy.
I have.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
Oh, yes. We've had Jason on the show many times, and one night we had both Jason and Kevin, and Cheryl may have Kevin's contact information too. But anyway, yeah, we have had so many weird things happen when we've had the Dybbuk box. Yeah, it's love the Dybbuk box.
I
Anyway,
would love to be around that.
Well,
here's something that'll blow you away. Okay, so yes, I'm a minister and been in the ministry for a long time. I grew up Jewish.
Oh, so the Dybbuk box would be of great interest to you. Then you need to read
Absolutely.
You need to read Jason's book about it. It's just called the Dybbuk box.
Do we have time for one more question?
One more, really quick question. Yeah. And then I'm going to need to, because I need to let Aaron shamelessly self-promote, because that is a big part of what we promise people who come on our show.
Oh, well, thank you.
So go ahead with your question.
Well, I don't have it. I'm seeing that Bob has another question. You're going to have to relay it.
Oh, would you put more credence in what a psychic picks up over what you get on some of the tech equipment?
More credence over what a psychic gets?
Yeah, so I think what he's asking is which do you give more weight to, equipment evidence or psychic evidence? Psychic, you can't call it evidence. What do you call it? Psychic information.
Intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, for me, it's been psychic. Just because I know these psychic mediums so well that I work with, and I trust them, and I think that because oftentimes they're picking something up that the equipment's not. So, look, for those techies out there, the equipment's not 100%, and neither are the psychic mediums, and they'll be the first ones to tell you they're not 100%.
Right. No.
But there's oftentimes they're picking things up that the equipment's not.
Yeah.
So,
You're absolutely right. We can tell you where to point your equipment. So, are you ready to shamelessly self-promote, Aaron?
Absolutely, I am.
Go, Aaron.
So, you can get a hold of me at Aaron, AARON.NWParanormal@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, which is www.nwparanormal.net. You can also find me on Facebook, because I shamelessly have 3 Facebook pages: Aaron Collins, Paranormal Crossings, and NW Paranormal Investigative Team.
You are a busy man.
Okay.
I am.
And Paranormal Crossings is on YouTube.
Yes, you can find, I put almost every episode on YouTube. There are a few that are still in the can that are waiting. And just as a little teaser, I interviewed the guys from Ghost Asylum. So I'm looking forward to putting that out there too. So, yeah.
All right. Very good.
Nice.
Hey, Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm glad that I met you and had the chance to talk with you so that we could get you on the show.
Yeah. Glad to have you on.
Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Yes, thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. Karen, it was a pleasure meeting you in person. Ben, I'd love to meet you. And, yeah,
we'll have to grab some
something.
coffee. We're right across the river from each other.
Your
Absolutely,
neighbors.
Definitely. Yes.
And also, thank you to both of you for finally making this an all Pacific Northwest show. I think that's very important.
Hey, is that history?
Absolutely.
Is that history for this show?
Yes, we've never had an all Pacific Northwest show before. Cheryl's in Tennessee, but she hasn't talked on the show. So.
How I feel special.
Cheryl's in Tennessee. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, Cheryl's in Tennessee. All right. So
Where in Tennessee?
Maryville.
Maryville.
Yeah.
I'm going to Memphis in August.
Oh,
Maybe
Cheryl, there you go.
Cheryl while I'm down there. Yeah. I had to go back home. Anyway, thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. Have a great night.
Thanks,
too. Aaron.
Bye.
All right. Good night.
Thank you.
Ben, you survived your first Paranormal Underground. Is this a gig that you would do occasionally? Like if Chuck or I took the night off, you think?
I would love to. It's fun. It's as long as I keep my guest names correct. That's what I get though for reading and listening and then thinking about my, whatever. I mean, Aaron's a nice guy. He knows it was not meant as disrespect, but I was just like, did I call him Bob?
You did, but I understood where it came from, and you noticed that I wasn't waving my arms at you or anything. It was fine. It was, and you've done very well, and I do appreciate you sitting in for Chuck. It's always fun when it's somebody that I know fairly well, and that it's good to get people who ask different questions too. So nice work.
I agree.
Okay, Cheryl. Now it's time. Now we're out of the Pacific Northwest portion. And we are into the tell us what's going on, what's coming up.
Wow, I feel so out of it. I don't belong.
You don't. One of these things just doesn't belong here.
Karen, is it me or you? I can't understand her. She's from Tennessee.
I know.
I have a hard time understanding
the twang,
Tennessee.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm actually from California, but I currently reside in Tennessee. So there you go.
Righteous, dude. Righteous.
That was a great show. Well done. Thank you so much, Ben, for sitting in for Chuck. You are awesome.
I was honored to be here, and I hope at some level I was able to kind of fill his big shoes. So
big Chucky G shoes.
Yes,
yes.
Well done.
Right.
Well done. So next week, I'm sure you want to know what's going on next week. We have
a little bit, yeah,
a little tiny bit. May 21st, Mark Leslie. He is the author of Tomes of Terror, a supernatural tour of bookstores and libraries around the world, focusing on the ghost stories from haunted locations.
Wait, he writes about books?
I get the picture that the book is a supernatural tour of bookstores and libraries around the world.
However, that's a probably very genius concept. If you're writing about books, you've got, you'll never run out of content.
No. But he's writing a book about places that it's like Patty's idea that what she thinks we should do is we should go on a haunted gift shop tour where we just go to haunted places and buy one thing from the gift shop.
Oh,
we don't investigate. We just go and buy something from the gift shop and leave. Yeah.
Good idea.
What else?
Good idea.
And Chucky will be back next week.
Chucky will be back. May 28th, we have John Weiss on, author of Life Goes On, A Skeptic's Afterlife Education.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then June...
You know how much I dig topics like that?
Yes, I know you like them a lot.
Yeah.
June 4th, you were just talking about her, I think, briefly. Nicole Strickland will be on. She is the founder and case manager of San Diego Paranormal Research Society. She is an author. She has done extensive research on the Queen Mary and many, many, many other things. So that will be a very
And that'll be fun.
show.
Cheryl, you've been on the Queen Mary.
Oh, I love the Queen Mary.
I'd like to check that out, even though I tend to try to avoid the really popular places.
Yeah.
That one's one that I'd really like to.
Yeah, the Queen Mary is a great location, so I would highly recommend it. I miss it. Well, I wanted to go the year before we moved, but we never even got a chance to go a final time. So maybe when we're back to visit, we can go again.
Work. It's what we do.
Yes.
We dig the whole day through. That's the, isn't that like the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs song?
Sounds
we
familiar.
dig. It's what we like to do.
And you're singing again. And you're singing.
I know. Every show must be musical. Chuck has told me I must sing on every show.
Yes.
There you go.
You got it in there.
Mission complete.
That's right. There you go, Chucky G, even though you weren't listening. Okay, so, and magazine, do we have something new coming out? Do we,
Yeah, we do. The May issue will be out shortly. On the cover will be the Ghost Adventures team, Steve and Amy. They are doing another Q&A with us.
That's not Ghost Adventures.
Oh my gosh, did I say Ghost Adventures? I apologize to Steve and Amy. I meant the Dead Files, and I can't believe I just did that.
Can you see Steve and Amy going in like the Ghost Adventures guys instead of doing
that?
Wow.
That totally covered my flub. Thank you, Cheryl.
That outdid you, I'm pretty sure. But
it's a great mental picture of Steve Dushavy and Amy Allen going in there going,
I'm so sorry.
Touch me!
I don't know why my brain was on Ghost Adventures.
With him
or whatever
and
I
a
said.
big old stogie hanging out. He's like, hey. No, I'm not even going to try to do it. Impersonations are not my thing, so I better.
No, he sounds like Emerald Lagasse. That's what I think. Anyway, okay, so Steve and Amy are on the cover. We just, with the couple minutes we have left, anything good in there, listen to me.
Yeah.
Because the magazine just sucks so
everything's good. We've got all sorts of topics. Of course, Karen, you cover the metaphysical side, dream interpretation. We have haunted locations, ufology, cryptozoology. Oh my gosh, on and on. Lots of paranormal goodness in there.
Excellent. So watch for that. And also, really quickly, I need your dreams. If you don't send them to me to interpret, I'm going to haunt your dreams. I'm just saying. Uh-oh. So email your dreams to editor at paranormalunderground.net. If you want to remain anonymous, you can. I'm looking at my microphone like my microphone's going to talk back to me.
I was wondering what you were doing, but whatever.
I've been doing it all night. I don't know what's wrong. But anyway, yeah. So editor at paranormalunderground.net. Send me your dreams, and I will be happy to interpret them in the magazine. Plus, you'll get a personal interpretation that Cheryl will send you. Also, haunted dolls. Go on eBay, buy yourself a haunted doll. Some of them are pretty darn cheap. And send us your experience. What did we say, by June 30th or July 30th, Cheryl? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but let's just say July 30th.
By July 30th, so that and it's for an article that's going into the magazine. We're trying to find out, if there are legitimate sellers of haunted dolls or not. So please do that. Okay, so it's time to wrap up. Ben, thank you very much. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun. Cheryl, thank you, because...
Yes, thank you, Cheryl.
We couldn't do this without you. Ben, I also have to say that we kind of were a little bit lazy with this show because as soon as you found out you were going to be co-hosting, you were like, "Can I contact the guest?" And we were like, "Yeah."
You add
sure you
quite
can.
a bit of emphaticism to that. No, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just being that, I'm getting a free ride, so I want to help.
Well, you were so helpful, and Cheryl and Chuck and I are like, "Yeah, you can do that."
I was like, as you remember, I was like, okay, well, tell me what I need to say, because I didn't want to
you did great.
Pitch the show wrong. Like, we're gonna be talking about the Bahamas and
it's Boner and the Clown Man's morning show on the Crazy KZ or something.
Exactly.
Okay. Anyway, so here's the thing. We got to wrap up. Thank you to Ben Robison. Thank you to Aaron Collins. And thank you to all of our listeners. You're listening to Paranormal Underground Radio here in the dark, here on the Hazy Radio Network. We'll be back next week, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, other times in the flyover states. Thank you. You guys have a good week. Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
If you'd like to be a guest on Paranormal Underground Radio in the dark, email us at editor@paranormalunderground.net. And until next week, remember this. If something looks out of place or doesn't feel quite right, it could just be something paranormal.